So I did, yeah. Right. Kate, should we wait till about like 5 after to see who pops in? Give people a
Sure.
couple of minute leeway.
Yeah, and if you guys that joined us, if you have any questions you want to pop in the chat or ask now, we can get stuff on the list here. Thanks for joining us. Hello.
What are you guys majoring in? I know engineering, but more specifically than that. Aeromechy. Okay, nice. Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah, it's very late in China. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
What,
yeah.
3 a.m.? Thanks for joining us today then. Wow.
And just popping another reminder in to our WebEx or Discord.
CSE. Okay.
And you're all class of 24, class of 23, right? You can like give a thumbs up or put it in the chat or something. We just want to make sure.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I decided to use the microphone because yeah, typing was pretty slow. Yeah. I'm actually 2024 like CSE major,
Okay.
and I'm not sure about that because I just joined Rensselaer during the spring semester, so yeah, I think it's probably 2025. I think, yeah. And I got the email from I see.
From me,
I just
from
got,
Rama.
yeah, from Rama, yeah. It indicates that I didn't choose a right HASS course, right?
Oh wait, I thought you meant email about this. I don't know what that email is.
Yeah, the email just indicated that let me read it to you. Uh Yeah, we highly encourage you attend this Friday's HASS rules refreshed workshop. Like it it told me I didn't choose the right HASS course for me. I think because I just chose songwriting for the next semester. Is there anything I need to change? I don't know.
So I'm actually going to go through sort of an overview of all of the HASS requirements for you guys first. And hopefully that'll answer some of your questions. And then we'll also talk specifics related to the pathway and a few other things. So I'm hoping that'll answer your question regarding whether or not you've taken the right HASS courses and whether or not we need to tweak that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. All right, everybody. My name is Michelle Riley. I am an advisor in the School of HASS. And because of that, I advise, our majors, and then we also answer lots of questions across the entire institute regarding HASS core, especially as things are shifting and your degree works audits don't necessarily reflect the correct information as of right now, which understandably is leading to some confusion. So we wanted to put this together today so that way we could answer any of your questions and just review what your HASS requirements are. I have a short PowerPoint that I'm going to show you so I don't miss anything, but feel free to throw questions in the chat and or interrupt me if you do have questions. Right, and let's see. We can do this. Okay. So we're going to talk today about mostly about the integrative pathways. That seems to be the largest area of confusion, but we'll talk in general, like I said, about the HASS core as a whole. So in general, as a general rule, there are 24 credits required for the HASS core. Since all of you are engineering majors, I put it in bold, you only need 22 credits. And that's because those other 2 credits are built into your major. So it's not that you're getting out of anything or you actually have fewer requirements than anyone else. It's just built into your major. Within those 22 credits, 2 credits are your PD2 requirement, and you can do that either through PD2 or an alternative course. So essentially what your advisors will say to you is that you're working with 20 credits essentially, because RPI does things, most of their HASS courses are 4-credit courses. You're looking at basically 5 classes. Within those 22 credits, you need a 4-credit, 4,000 level course. Okay, it has to be 4,000, or has to be 4 credits. It can't be a 3-credit course. It can't be 2 credits. It needs to be 4 credits. There is a maximum of 12 credits at the 1,000 level. That's really important, especially if you're transferring in AP credits. That tends to be where students get stuck, is they have a lot of 1,000 levels and they forget that they can only use 12 credits there. Maximum of 8 credits from transfer or AP credit. And that's important, especially if you brought in APs, but you wanted to transfer in something. Total maximum is 8 for that. And a maximum of 8 credits pass no credit. That being said, you can't use pass no credit designation for your integrative pathways or your communication intensive requirements. So just be really cautious with the use of that, especially again, if you're transferring in any credits or bringing in any AP credit or IB credit. We have to watch that PNC number with that. Okay. You do need a HASS inquiry course. That should be taken in your first 2 semesters. Most of our HASS inquiry courses are under the course code IHSS. That stands for Interdisciplinary Humanities, Arts, and Social Science. And those are courses that are specially designed for first-year students, which is why we say to take it in your first 2 semesters. They're not really appropriate for upperclassmen. Now, if you are in a situation where you did not take a HASS inquiry in your first 2 semesters at RPI, let somebody know. There are 2 other options for you. IHSS 1200, Principles of Econ, or STSO 1110, Science, Technology, and Society. We always have 1 section of that open for upperclassmen. It does tend to go quickly. So a lot of our students, if you didn't take your HASS inquiry in your first 2 semesters, a lot of you are going to end up in Principles of Econ. Those of you who started at RPI in January, okay, you have another semester before your first 2 semesters are up. If that fits you and you did not take a HASS inquiry course, work with your advisor to pick one out that is appropriate, and then they'll connect you with me to get you into a course. Okay. You do need a communication intensive course. So this is designed to improve your communication skills, reading, writing, presentation, all of that good stuff. You are advised to take this in your first 3 semesters. It must be done at Rensselaer. Okay. The reason we want you to do this in your first 3 semesters, that's when it's the most beneficial to you. Get those reading and writing skills, communication, presentation skills up to the collegiate level quickly, so that way you can use them and apply them throughout the rest of your time at RPI. Doing that, say, last semester, senior year, far less effective than it would be earlier in your college career. And then your 12-credit integrative pathway. And this is where a lot of the confusion is coming from, and why we're here today is that pathway. So we're going to talk a little bit more about pathways. So an integrative pathway is a 12-credit course sequence, okay? 12 credits, that's the big thing to remember. If you're taking all of your courses at RPI, it's 3 courses, typically. Eventually, you will be able to declare a pathway, hopefully in SIS. I can't tell you when that will happen, hopefully within the next year. You can change your pathway as many times as you want without approval. Just make sure that you can complete the pathway before you graduate. So that's really important to keep in mind. You do want to choose courses from the set of pre-approved courses. Our faculty have spent tons and tons and tons of hours putting together, crafting these pathways for you. And so they are designed in a specific way to get you the content knowledge and that's appropriate within that theme. So we really want to limit the number of substitutions and things that we're doing with that because there are lots of options available to you. Many of the pathways allow for easy access to a minor. What I will say with that is you do want to make sure if that's something that you're interested in, is to make sure that you're planning ahead for that. Because some pathways have the pathways are more general than the minor is. So some pathways include courses that are not necessarily as focused as the minor would require. So typically what I tell students is if you're interested in getting a minor in something, to look back and forth between the pathway requirements and the minor requirements and make sure whatever classes you're choosing are on both lists. Okay. One of the nice things about the integrative pathways is that many of them allow for you to hit more than one of your requirements for HASS core with a single course. So for example, if you took IHSS 1140 Minds and Machines, that's a HASS inquiry course. It's also a communication intensive course. And it's required for certain pathways. So you're satisfying more than one HASS requirement within the same course. Some courses don't do that. They only satisfy one thing. They just count towards your pathway. But sometimes, certainly the more popular courses satisfy more than one thing. If you are a sophomore, so if you are a class of 2023, you should be referring to the catalog for your pathways at this point, making sure that you're checking the 2019 catalog. So I would say go to catalog, go to programs. Can you guys see, I opened the internet. Can you see that or do I need to share a different screen? Thank you, Kate.
We can't see it.
Yeah, I
Michelle.
can't see it.
Okay, let me share my web browser then. Oh, no. Yes, that is what I wanted. I think. Now, can you see the catalog? Okay, beautiful. So one of the things to watch out for, folks, is making sure you're in the right catalog year. So if you go back prior to 2019, integrative pathways don't even exist in the catalog. This is really important for minors. I have had to rain on a couple of parades recently of students who asked to have certain minor forms signed that their minor doesn't exist anymore. So we weren't able to do that. So make sure class of 2023, you're referring to 2019 catalog. For those of you who are class of 2024, you would be referring to the 2020 catalog. It's always the year you entered. If you scroll about halfway down, there is a section for integrative pathways. The one thing I really like about the catalog version of these is that the link to the minor is right in the catalog. So for example, if I were to look at the integrative pathway for economics, it gives it the requirements. So I have to choose one of the following, either introductory economics or principles of econ. Choose one of the following, either econ 2010, econ 2020, or a 2000 level econ class. This only pops up if you transferred in those credits. We don't offer any electives typically that are at the 2000 level for econ. And then you choose your remaining credits from a 4000 level econ course. Remember, integrative pathway is 12 credits. So basically you're choosing 1, 1, and 1, okay? There is a link for the compatible minor. If we click on that, you will notice some differences from the pathway versus the minor. The pathway requires either principles or introductory, and it requires micro, whereas the pathway offers you the option of using macro. Okay, minor requires micro, the pathway gives you the option of micro or macro. So just be aware of that, okay? Also notice that you can finish your 16 credits with either 2,000 or 4,000 levels. So again, I like that the using the catalog allows you to link if there is a minor, and you can see right away what those requirements are. Not every pathway offers a minor. For example, fact and fiction. This is an interdisciplinary one. Again, 12 credits, so we're choosing one from here, and then choosing remaining credits. So we're looking, because everything's a 4-credit class, at 2 more classes from here. You'll notice though, no link to a minor here because there is no compatible minor for that. So that's that. The other place some of you might be familiar with is the HASS inquiry, or excuse me, the Pathways site, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. I want to go through a couple other things with you guys first, though. Okay, so a couple of examples of pathways. I know I just showed you 2, but to just show you the different ways they're set up. So basically you have 3 different options in the way the pathways are set up. Some of them are choose 1 from one category and then choose your other 2 from one category. So like the ethics one is like that. Other pathways, you have 3 different options. So you choose 1, choose 1, choose 1. Sometimes in these ones that have 3 different categories, very often the middle course is the required course. Let me go back. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip ahead. The other thing to be aware of is sometimes that middle course can be used as an entry point to the pathway. So for example, in the mind, brain, and intelligence pathway, if you didn't take Minds and Machines, AI and Society, or Are Humans Rational, you can still do this pathway. What you would do though is you would start with Intro to Cognitive Science, and then instead of taking only 1 course from the course 3 options, you would actually choose 2. So a few of our pathways allow you access to them sort of partway through. And the reason for that is that sometimes you take a HASS inquiry and you realize like, oh my gosh, this is the worst subject I've ever taken and I hate this. We don't really want you to be stuck miserable for this. We want you to enjoy it. We want you to add the minor. We want you to love it so much that you come to me and say, I want to add a dual major with this. You know, it's part of the reason why these pathways were crafted, is to give you that easy access to expanding your knowledge within a single area. Okay. And then you do sometimes have a few of the pathways are just open-ended, where it's just, here's a list of a bunch of courses, choose 12 credits from it. The Chinese language one is like that. Some of the like literature ones and communication ones are like that. That's where I tend to see it more often, where it's just, you know, choose 12 credits from. HASS inquiry and pathway. So I touched a little bit on this, how they interact and things. So every HASS inquiry course fits into a pathway. Some of them fit into 5 or 6 pathways, some fit into 1 pathway. But not every pathway requires or even contains a HASS inquiry course. For example, the Understanding Human Behavior pathway, I like to call it the psychology pathway because that's really what it is. It leads to the Gen Psych minor. That one doesn't have a HASS inquiry in it. It starts with Gen Psych because our psych department, you know, the psych science doesn't really have a HASS inquiry. So in that case, if that was something you were interested in, you just have to make sure that you're also doing a HASS inquiry separately. For some of you, your HASS inquiry will help you decide on your pathway. Those of you who are sophomores and above and are looking now at, okay, I took my HASS inquiry, you know, I didn't really do much with HASS this year. What do I do now? Or I took 2 courses that were sort of related. Which pathway should I follow? On the HASS Pathways site, there is a page that will help you navigate what pathways your HASS inquiry goes to. And I'll show you guys that now. So, yes, thank you. How your HASS inquiry courses apply to pathways. And it's really important to make sure you're following the correct year with this one. So again, I'm talking mostly to sophomores here. For if you started at RPI in 2019, fall 2019 or spring 2020, you would want to reference this. And this is a really good way to say like, okay, well, I took the American Dream, but I don't remember what pathways that goes to. I don't even know what before today, I didn't even know what the pathways were or what you're talking about. I can drop this down and I can look at what pathways are associated with that course. Then I can go, I would recommend you go to the catalog from that year. And the reason I say that is not every HASS inquiry course that we offered in 2019 was offered in 2020. So sometimes the pathways no longer contain the HASS inquiry course if you're looking at the 2020 ones. So for example, Are Humans Rational? We offered it in 2019. There are 4 different pathways. It was not offered in 2020. So if I go to the 2020 pathways stuff, I might not see Are Humans Rational there in those 4 different pathways because we didn't offer the course. So you just want to be careful about things like that and making sure you're checking the correct catalog. That being said, if you're working with your advisor, they may advise you to use a newer catalog just for ease of content and things like that. But that's a decision you need to make with them because it does affect lots of other things as well. So just be cautious with that. Make sure you're using your appropriate catalog for that. Catalog resources. I'll throw this link in the chat also. We put together a checklist for you guys to help you. It includes the information you saw on the first page, as well as like a worksheet to help you organize your HASS courses, things like that. If you are interested in learning about the current HASS inquiry courses, you can certainly check that out on info.rpi.edu/HASS inquiry. But again, I would always refer you to the catalog. That's always your most reliable source. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. Email is the best bet at this point, or scheduling a meeting with me, and I will show you guys where to do that. So let me throw a couple of things in the chat and stop sharing my screen for you for just a second. I want to send over this link. So HASS core checklist. I know engineering, the Engineering Hub has put together one also for you guys, so feel free to use that. But this is also there as well. I like this one. Obviously, I designed it. So of course I'm going to defer to it. But also it allows, sometimes what you think your plan is might change a little bit, and this offers a little bit more flexibility, I think, than some of the other templates I've seen put together. The other place I would direct you to, and I just want to share this also. So if you are ever in doubt and have questions and need more than a quick, email answer, especially those of you who are trying to navigate like, well, which pathway do I choose? This is what I'm interested in and really aren't sure where to go. If you go to our HASS advising site, hass.rpi.edu/advising, and if you scroll down, you can actually make an appointment with me. And for some of you, if you have more than 1 or 2 questions, this can often be faster than email. That being said, don't ever hesitate to send me an email if you do have questions. That's it for my formal presentation. What questions do you guys have?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, so I'm sure now I have chosen the wrong HASS course for this semester. Is there any way to make some changes? Like,
Absolutely. So registration reopens on May 6th. Is that right? Okay. Um, so if you are changing to something that has open seats and things like that, you can make those changes on your own. If I know you mentioned that you entered RPI in January, so if you need a HASS inquiry, I would say talk to your advisor first about what HASS inquiry you're interested in, and then they'll put you in touch with me to get you registered for that course because you would still be within your first 2 semesters. Does that answer your question?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, if I cannot make any changes on the SIS, so I just need to maybe sign a form or something like.
Yeah, so there's a form if you need to be added to a course because it's closed or restricted, there's a form to be filled out. That being said, if you are, if you're an upperclassman looking to be added to a HASS inquiry class, the answer is going to be no, unless you are taking principles of economics at this point. But yes, for our students who fall 2021 will be their second semester, we are working with you and with your advisors to get you into HASS inquiry courses.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. What other questions do you guys have? Good. Connor, I'm glad to hear that. Wonderful. Let us know if anything does come up.
Yeah, could you please share these slides?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will
Yep.
send them to Kate and to Rama, and they can disseminate
Oh,
that
sure,
information out to you guys.
sure.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
share it with the recording too. And I did want to make sure we talked about this. I don't really have I thought I had like a blacked out degree works, but I don't even know if I want to show a degree works anyway, but we should definitely mention that degree works is wrong right now. So if you guys have gone in there, because I've talked to students who've gone into their degree works to look and see, how they're progressing in their degree. And right now, for your class year, the HASS section is wrong. So don't pay attention to that. Don't worry about depth. That's not for you. So focus on the materials that we're going to include with this and the one that Michelle included up above for the HASS core.
Yeah, the depth is the old requirements, and I've gotten lots of emails from students too about humanities versus social science. You don't have to worry about that. That's why we have you do the HASS inquiry course, because it's interdisciplinary. It satisfies your humanities and your social science requirements. So yes, please, as Kate said, disregard degree works in terms of your HASS core for now.
Michelle, you had mentioned something, and I just wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
and maybe this will help students too. So you said that you don't sign minor forms for old catalogs, but if the student was here when that
Yes.
minor, okay, and then as long as those courses, either they've already signed up, they already are in them or took them,
Yes.
or they're still
So
around, that's okay,
yes,
right?
absolutely. So for example, I had a student contact me recently who wanted a communication minor, and they started, I think, in 2019. The communication minor doesn't exist in the 2019 catalog, so I can't sign their minor. However, those of you who started in 2019, the public health minor was a thing. It's no longer a thing because we had some changes within HASS. So for 2019 students, I can sign that minor. Future students, I won't be able to necessarily sign that minor form because unless they started in 2019, it might not be a thing anymore.
Okay.
Yep. So again, that's guys, why your catalog is really important. That being said, I will say this on minors. If there is a minor in a newer catalog than your current catalog. So let's say, for example, you started in 2019. In the 2020 catalog, there's a minor you want that didn't exist in the 2019 catalog. We will approve that. HASS will approve it. I'll just put it that way.
And the same thing for pathways too, right? If there's any newer
Yes.
pathways, they can follow
Yeah.
those too.
So far, we've not added pathways. We've just
Okay.
removed some. But who knows what happens in the future. Other questions you guys have?
Can you just talk a little bit about substitutions? Because sometimes there's like a topics course that, that can be substituted.
So one of the big things that comes up are topics courses. So we have what are called catalog courses and topics courses. Catalog courses are the courses that are offered with regularity. They've been approved, they are in the catalog. You can find them by going to catalog and then courses and look them up. And some of them are not offered often, but they are official courses. And then we have what are called topics courses. And these are courses that are offered based on faculty interest, essentially. And they often revolve around what faculty are currently researching or currently doing in their practice and things like that. And these are often coded as like 296 something or 496 something. And you'll hear all of your advisors refer to these as topics courses. So these are, offered once, sometimes 2 or 3 times, but they're not in the catalog. And so sometimes we can do approved substitutions with those courses because they're an appropriate substitution. You won't find them in the catalog though, so we're not going to write them in under a minor or under a pathway because we don't even know that we're offering them type of thing. But that can sometimes be an appropriate substitution. What we do in those cases, typically for the pathways, what we're doing now is putting a note in your DegreeWorks audit. If you are a student who's in that situation where you took a topics course that is an appropriate substitution, we are putting a note in your DegreeWorks audit so that way it's there. As far as the minor goes, because you submit a form with your courses listed on it, we don't necessarily need a formal note in DegreeWorks because you have a form that's on file with the registrar's office. And we do sometimes, again, do substitutions within minors for topics courses, things that are offered. And certain minors and certain pathways have that sort of built into them through things like you'll see under philosophy, it'll say like a 4XXX philosophy elective. They're implying topics courses or a transfer course. So that's sort of where those come into play versus your catalog courses, which are the named courses within the field. We try to limit substitutions in terms of it needs to be really applicable and really appropriate to the either pathway or minor. We're not, you can't substitute a STS class for a psych class. That's not necessarily an appropriate substitution. It really needs to be on topic and within the same theme. Good question. Other questions, either students you guys have or Rama or Kate, like questions you guys get a lot regarding HASS core or pathways or minors or adding dual majors or anything HASS related?
Yeah, so for the first 2 semesters, I need to take 2 HASS inquiry courses, right?
Just one.
Just one, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. That clears things up.
Good.
Yeah, maybe I'm out of question now, and
Okay.
it's all good.
All right. You've asked great questions. Thank you.
Hi, I was wondering if there's a benefit in getting a minor. So if I have like 2 courses that will both satisfy a pathway, but only one satisfies a minor, should I go with the one that satisfies the minor or just do the one I'm more interested in? And if I can't get the minor, so be it.
That's up to you. I think I would, when we talk about minors with students, we talk a lot about like what are you trying to get out of it? Or is it just you're really interested in the topic, so you think you're going to take more courses anyway? So that's a great reason to do it. It can be, when you're looking at jobs, it can be a point of conversation sort of a jump into that conversation. I will say this, I don't think a minor, it's not going to be what gets you a job. It's only 16 credits in an area. That being said, if I have two identical candidates and one has a minor in communication, and I know that this position has, social outreach and I need them to be a good communicator, I probably would go with the person with the minor. But it's not like the make or break it of anything, I don't think. Kate, Rama, do you have anything to add in terms of that?
No, I would agree with that. I think exactly what you said. It's, what does a student want? Think about your engineering identity, how you're going to set yourself apart from other people based on what you're interested in and, what you want to learn about. So I think, make your decision that way, because if you'd rather spend those credits taking another technical elective or something in another HASS, or that would probably be a better use of your time because you have a really particular reason why you want to do that course instead. So
And it's not an either or two. You do have free electives. So if you do find that you would rather take the one course for your HASS, then you can take the other one as free elective, or they might even be interchangeable in that way. So just keep that in mind too. A minor does not have to be all from those 4 HASS or from your 5 HASS. Like all 4 of them don't have to be in the HASS core.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Rama. And utilizing, some of you came in with credits, but not enough to make it so you're going to graduate early. So you might opt for, I'm going to take an extra technical elective because I'm here anyways. I know I had multiple conversations earlier this year with students planning for their senior year who were in a position they couldn't graduate early. So they opted, rather than take, 2 easy semesters, they opted to add a couple extra classes and are getting a minor because they're here and they are like, well, I'm paying all this money. I may as well learn some more stuff because I like to learn. And this is, one of your last great opportunities to do that, and to take advantage of that. So.
thought I had another question. Can students do two minors? You want to talk about
Absolutely.
that? And they can
Yeah,
share courses or not share courses?
So you can't share courses within minors. It looks like in some of the new catalog, there may be some permissions for sharing courses between major and minor courses. But even with the new rules that are going to be coming out, you can't share courses within 2 separate minors. So unfortunately, that is a no on that. I do have some students who do multiple minors because they enjoy it and they just happen to, have a lot of free electives, or they transferred in Calc 1 and 2, so they took those 2 courses, added it to their free electives, and did their HASS core in such a way that they ended up with 2 minors. I will say, I think it's a lot of pressure on yourself in terms of scheduling. It can be challenging. And in those cases, what I typically tell students is, let's try it and see, but let's also be realistic about what could or could not happen, and just, adjust our plans accordingly.
Are faculty starting to put on their syllabus like what pathways their courses, like if they're a HASS inquiry course
I don't
instructor?
think so.
Okay, just curious. And I didn't know if
Yeah.
maybe the students knew that if they took a HASS inquiry course.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that, but to be fair, I don't see hardly any syllabi.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting idea, though.
Michelle, are you a contact for every minor in HASS?
I am. So yeah, if you guys are declaring a minor, I am on the minor approval form, there's a line for department chairperson. That's me. I sign all the minor approval forms. So, and or you can always send it to hassinfo@rpi.edu, or this summer it'll be Brian.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can I, after taking some HASS courses, and I think I'm really interested in this field. Can I add for example, can I add music as a second major?
I would say sometimes. Certain
Sometimes.
majors, yeah, I don't want to say yes, because some majors don't play well with others in terms of the requirements and in terms of timing. There are certain HASS majors do require an additional application process. So our
Okay.
music program, our GSASS, so Game Simulation Arts and Sciences, and our DIS, Design Innovation and Society, those three programs do require an additional application process. If you're interested in it, shoot me an email and I will send you the information for that. And part of that is, part of the rationale behind that is that we want to make sure you're going to graduate on time. Those three programs have certain requirements that need to be met in certain orders. So it can be a challenge, especially with your engineering programs,
Yeah.
to make scheduling work. That being said, I have a engineering music dual graduating in the fall. DIS Mechanical is one of our more popular DIS duals. I don't think GSAS engineering is a thing.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and I don't think you could even do it. I think scheduling would be a nightmare. I also think personally DIS I think pairs really well with most of the engineering programs. Mechanical is definitely the more popular, but I have had some IME DIS duals. I haven't had any computer systems engineering with DIS. So it sort of
Okay.
depends on, yeah.
And if you
Okay.
want, we can talk a little bit about, because I'm the computer systems advisor. So if you want, you can make an appointment with me and we can take a look at what you've got and see if a music dual would work and how that would look, and we can connect with Michelle as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, before getting to college, I just dreamed to working into some uh, digital musical instruments company like Roland or Native Instruments. They are great companies, and I believe if I got a CSE major and a music major, it will help me, you know, yeah, for applying to those companies after
Why
graduate.
don't you send me an email and we can connect, because I have like an alumni I'm thinking of that does something like that I could connect you with to ask questions about what you would need and stuff like that. So I put my email in the chat. So just send me an email, okay?
Okay, sure.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for chatting with us and our students today.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, my email is in the chat as well. If you do need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. And you are in good hands with Kate and Rama. Big things to remember from today. DegreeWorks HASS core is currently wrong, so please don't refer to it. Don't email us panicked because nothing is filled. It's because it's not right in the first place. And other big takeaway is that you've got your HASS pathway, and that's 12 credits, and you want to make sure you are referring to the correct information for that. I defer to the catalog, but you do have the info.rpi.edu/pathways site as well, which has some helpful pieces of information. But Kate and Rama, thank you for putting this together. We appreciate it, and hopefully this helped a few of you. It sounds like you got some of your questions answered, so that's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It really cleared things up. Okay. Help me a lot.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah. So, yeah. See you guys.